Alright. Hi, hey, howdy, hello. So, my name is Syzygy, and I'm going to be doing a first, for myself at least, which is I'm going to be recording a series to upload here on YouTube. I've never done this before. I will say I have no experience editing, so this is just going to be an unedited long play. I hesitate to call it a tutorial series, but I've noticed there's not too much video content of Cultist Simulator out, in the world that is explanatory. Not to my standards, at least. Like, there are tutorials out there and stuff, but I feel like I can do better. I will say I am not the most knowledgeable on this game. I know enough to win any of the minor victories, but major victories I haven't done. I haven't played with the DLC either, so there is that you're going to be lacking. But, I figure I'm skilled enough that I can do something here. So, I'm gonna go ahead and purge my save. We're starting from scratch, completely, out of the blue. We're playing as the aspirant, as you can see here. That's what it defaults to on your first run. You'll get choices later on, depending, because it is a roguelike. But for now, we're just gonna play as this guy. And without further ado, we're just gonna get into it. So, we are the aspirant, alone in this chilly city with my useless education and my dreams. What now? Could I become something more? So, first things first. We have the playing board here. We have pause, normal, fast forward options, all this fun stuff. We got some numbers here. They're all 0. I'm going to name my guy. I don't know where the name Oyus came from, but I like it, so we're using it. And, yeah, that's it. We've got a couple of things here, but also these guys. Now, that's one of the first things that I want to explain that most people don't really realize, as far as I've seen, is you can move these. You can rearrange them as you'd like. So, yeah, I'm going to put them up in this corner. One of the things that I've noticed a lot with videos of this game is most people are not the most organized, and that gets to me. So, this board is going to be an organizer's wet dream, essentially, by the time I get done with it. But, in the meantime, we have menial employment, and this tile is a verb. You can put cards into the verb to do things. There's going to be more than one verb right now. We've just got work, which, earn a living or practice the invisible arts. Work isn't just about a job. Sometimes it's about doing stuff. But, in this case, we do have a job here, menial employment. We have a precarious position as a hospital porter. Miserable, but it's all we can find just now. And you can see here, there's this little icon here. This is an aspect. Any card that you click on is going to have a variety of aspects, and you can click on the aspect to see what it means. So, this is a job, an arrangement to exchange one's life for money. So, first things first. You can click on this tile, and then you can drag your thing in and call it a day, right? And you get a whole bunch of information. We'll worry about that in a second. But there's other ways that you can use the UI. For example, if you click on the empty slot, it'll highlight every card that you can see. It'll also tell you what the slot is, something I can do, something I know, or something I am. And it'll tell you what you can use and what you can't use. Now, this is immediately a very easy way to get overwhelmed with information, so I'm not going to click on any of these aspects here. We just know that this one is work, right? These guys we can worry about later. More than that, though, if you've got a card and you want to use it, but you don't know where specifically you can use it, you see here, clicking and dragging a card causes the tile to highlight. You can drop a card on the tile, and it'll automatically slot in. But there's another way that you can do that. If you double-click on the card, it launches it right where it needs to go. Now, sometimes there are multiple places a single card can go, and it'll default to one place over all others, so double-clicking is not always the most reliable thing. So you want to keep that in mind while you're playing. But our only option is to work. Another shift at the hospital. Another shift, mopping the darkened hallways, delivering post to hollow-eyed invalids, trundling corpse-laden gurneys to the basement. Not the most lucrative or best job, but it's important work, I guess. So, you can see here, everything in brackets is a hotkey that you can press, so I can pause with spacebar. I can go to normal speed or fast forward. You know, you've got your escape key for the menu and all that. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but if you hit escape while you have a verb open, it closes the verb. So, start as S. I like using the hotkeys, so if something happens and I didn't click on it, that's why. Now, I have time paused. So I started this, but the timer hasn't started going down. That's one of the big things about this game that I've noticed a lot of people don't take advantage of, is you can pause. I would say pause all the time. Pause constantly. If you have something you want to think about doing, be paused. Don't let time run. Because there are certain time-sensitive events that just happen, and they can seriously screw you over if you aren't paused. Or if you aren't paused while you're thinking. But anyway, so we've got some UI here. All of the aspects that you put into a slot or into a given event, because some events can have more than one slot, will show up on this bottom slightly darker bar here. You can also see that the card itself is slotted in here. So every time you slot in a card, it'll show up on this little portion here, so you can know what cards you've put into a given verb. But anyway, now we're working. And that is this game. There is a lot of waiting for things to happen. But as you progress, there will be a lot of... hold on one second. Alright, sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. There is a lot of waiting for timers to tick down, and it can be a little tedious at times, but when you get a little further into the game, as you can see, I unlocked a new verb here. You'll unlock a variety of verbs, and if you're playing the game right and using your pause frequently, there is going to be times where there is no waiting at all. Like, things are ticking down slowly, but you are constantly doing so many different things that there's always something to do. So, halfway through your shift, the head porter beckons you aside. "We won't require your services any longer," he says. "Here, your last payment. We've paid you through the end of the month." I have lost my job. At least now I have a little time to rest and my health improves. Dream is unlocked. And you can see here, we get some cards. So we've got a couple of funds. And one thing to note, cards can stack. If you just click and drag on a stack, you're going to pull one card out of the stack. But if you hold shift and click and drag, you'll grab the whole stack. So another little bit of usefulness there. I'm going to put my money up here for now. We also have some health. This is my body. There are other bodies, but this one is mine. And my mind needs it as a fungus needs soil. And then it gives a little bracket thing, some help. With enough vitality, you can gain more health. What is vitality? We don't know, but we can find some later. And I don't know if you saw, but there was a little badge here showing how many cards were in this verb. So, I'm going to start rearranging things. Everything on this board, except for the board itself, can be rearranged. So, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be spending time making everything look nice and pretty. We've got another verb here. This verb is recall my dreams, or more specifically, dream in general. Once again, I dream of a glow beneath the filthy skin of the world, the light through the black wood, the pale door, the old man. So, at this point, we've got two options. We can unpause and wait the 30 seconds for this to go through, or we can start working. If you put your health into the work slot, you get unskilled labor. It's back-breaking work for meager pay. Is this the best I can do? The answer to that question is no. But we're going to start that. That's going to take 60 seconds, so that'll run through while this is running through. And we're just going to wait. And I like playing in fast forward because I'm impatient and don't like waiting. As you can see, just slowly whiling away the hours. And that's another thing that you might notice is as soon as anything finishes, A, there's an audio cue. And B, when I hear that audio cue, I pause. I pause immediately. 3/10 of a second after this thing spawned in, I paused. You're going to see that a lot. I'm going to be pausing left and right. So, it began when I spoke to the old man in the hospital. He knew my name, but he's dead now. The pneumonia. Why do I dream of him still? What is the cobalt light in my dreams? Time is now passing. That is a significant sentence right there. For now, we have contentment. I'm happy, I think. Contentment defends against dread, but contentment doesn't last. So you can see here there's more aspects. We'll get into those later. And this card has a timer on it. So this is one of several kinds of card that just decay over time. This will go away. That's that line, contentment doesn't last. So we have 60 seconds to make use of this, and it's gone forever. But contentment as a card is pretty common. You'll be making and seeing this a lot, so we can just let that sit. We don't need it right now. We don't have any dread. We've never even seen dread, so. Next up, passion. Dull minds are never either intuitive or mathematical. Blaise Pascal. So with enough glimmering, you can study to gain more passion. So already, we're seeing down here, we've got some numbers. We've got our funds here, we've got our passion here, we've got our health here. And it's mentioning different kinds of things that you can use with passion, with health, to get more. So these are essentially your stats, and you can level those stats up and make them more powerful. So that's going to be one of the first things that we do. A lot of people, they start progressing into the story, into the meat of their run almost immediately, and they don't have enough stats to make it last, which is not ideal. They end up dying to various status effects, or not having enough cards to manage things easily or correctly. So we're going to mitigate that right at the outset. So what just happened? This just happened. It grabbed one of our money. You see here, this little magnet slot, it's going to grab the nearest available cards. This is for our expenses. Time, the sundial's shadow passes. I must have funds to live, or I will become ill. This is your pressure. This is how the game tells you not to start slacking off. This is your progress or die mechanic. So we need funds. Constantly. All the time. This thing eats funds. One fund every 60 seconds. If you don't have funds, that's a game over. It basically symbolizes your quality of living. Now, this unskilled labor finished. The day is done, and so am I, but I've earned my pay. Now I've got health. It's fatigued. This card can't be used, but it will recover after 60 seconds, and I can recover it faster by dreaming. Dreaming is this cloud verb here. You can see here, it's got this aspect of ill health. There are multiple ways you can get ill health. This is a very temporary thing. It'll go away on its own, and we'll get that health back. You can see here in the stats, we've got 0 actual, but 1 max. So we get some vitality for working. Exercise, or something rarer, has invigorated me. If we combine this with another vitality, we can improve our abilities. We've got 3 minutes before this decays outright. Just like contentment, it is its own decaying card. And last but not least, we got some funds. Now, there isn't much else to do here, but we do have passion. So, while we wait for more things to happen, while we wait for this health to recover from its fatigue, we can paint with our passion. I used to paint. I could remember those sites, or I could paint those sites I half remember from my dreams. I might sell something. I probably won't. Now, this is kind of a dice roll on whether or not you actually get any money, but there are still reasons for using it. And you can see here, art's rewards. Painting can bring contentment, or sometimes a new kind of understanding. So this is another way to get this contentment here. And you can see there's one card that we're going to draw from this. We also have this yearning slot. If I'm restless, perhaps this is what I want. And that little candle thing, it consumes its contents. This is one really good way to manage status effects later. As part of time passing, certain seasons will occur. One of them is a season of bleak thoughts, which will feed off of restlessness. Restlessness creates dread. Dread in bleak thoughts makes despair. It's complicated, but we'll get to it later. But restlessness is basically bad. We want to get rid of restlessness, or we want to hope that we don't have bleak thoughts while restlessness is around. Yearning is one way to get rid of restlessness. But for now, we leave the slot empty. Because we don't need something for this to progress. This is just an optional. We can put this in. And I'm going to move this over here to make sure I don't forget about it. And for the record, if we sleep with the health, right, we can dream, have a nap, but this takes almost as much time, if I recall, as the fatigued health regenerates anyway, so I don't really use that. I don't see the point. So you can see the contentment went away, and this progressed. So we started with, there's a change in the air. I need funds to live, but perhaps this recent upset in my circumstances is a secret blessing. Is there something to my dreams? There's a change in the air. And then that progressed into a bequest arrives. A letter from a solicitor. Now, for the North American audience, solicitors are basically lawyers. For the European audience, you know what a solicitor is. The old man at the hospital, the one I dream of, has named me in his will. I'll hear more soon. Grab some water there, don't mind me. So, the old man, there's maybe something supernatural about him. He's named us in his will. He knew our name somehow. We're not going to question it because, you know, we don't have much in the way of prospects for our life currently. You can see the time ticking down there in the corner. So, we just got 11 things. Oh boy. If we look, the old man has bequeathed me a sum of money and a packet of peculiar papers. Poetry, riddles, metaphysical speculations. For the first time in months, here is some fuel for my reason. And now we've unlocked study, which is this yellow verb here. So the first thing we've got is a ton of money. That's a little bit of a cushion. The game gives you some breathing room. It's not a lot of breathing room. It's very easy to lose all of this very quickly, but it is some breathing room. It's 11 minutes worth of time. We have the bequest. A package of peculiar papers from my correspondence executor. I must study it using either passion or reason. So we have passion, currently used to be to paint with, and we have reason. No live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Shirley Jackson. And so again, we've got these brackets. With erudition, you can study to gain more reason. So we have the study verb. If we have glimmerings, we can study with our passion to gain more passion. If we have erudition, we can study with our reason to gain more reason. Same thing with vitality and health. And in the meantime, we've got this bequest. Studying this with reason or passion is how you progress the story. We're not going to do that right now. We're going to do something else. So, health is finished. One more of our funds just got pooled. We can see time passes. There's this little card here. If you click on it, it's going to be a season of silence, which means nothing is going to happen in the next 60 seconds. So you can always click on your time verb, see what the next season is going to bring, and plan ahead that way. You know if there's going to be a season of illness, a season of suspicion, a season of bleak thoughts, all of that fun stuff. So definitely use this to plan ahead if you aren't already. So, I've finished a painting, to the excitement of absolutely no one. No one but me. Sometimes painting will gain you glimmerings. Study them to unlock more advanced painting options. So we've exhausted our passion, and we've gotten a glimmering for it. Now, these temporary cards are what are used to expand your stats. You've got to get multiples to do that, though. So, I'm going to work again. In 60 seconds, that'll get me more vitality. I have 2 minutes on this vitality, so I've got plenty of time to put this in the study. Time for a niche mechanic. Cards that decay. You can only hold on to them for a limited amount of time, right? Not quite. If you put a card into a slot that is compatible with it, vitality plus more vitality, that's how you get your health, by the way, and you unpause time, as long as you hold this in its slot, this card doesn't decay. Now, you can only do this for one card at a time. Like, if I try to pick this up, well, it doesn't fit in the vitality slot. if I put this in this slot, well, the Vitality doesn't fit in the Glimmering slot, so it's only one card at a time that you can keep active. Or, not active, but, like, in stasis. So if you have a card, a specific decaying card that you really want to preserve, keep it in a verb slot, and it'll stay preserved. So our passion's just about to wake back up. We've got time happening, we've got work happening. We're just gonna wait, and pause. Okay, so we got another of our funds taken. Let's look. Hey look, a season of despair. Night waits for me. So, this is that thing that restlessness feeds into. This is one of the ways to get a game over. We don't just have pressure from losing funds, we have pressure from various seasons. A season of despair feeds off of any dread that you build up. Dread is one of those decaying cards. It's countered by contentment, if you remember. If the season of despair consumes 3 dread, game over. You commit the unalive. You find a bridge and you have a nice dive, right? There are other seasons as well that feed off of other influences that will kill you as well. So that's something you have to pay attention to. Meantime, though, we did some work. We've got health that's fatigued, we've got another vitality, and we've got another funds. Now, this health restores itself every 60 seconds. This time passing takes funds every 60 seconds. With just health alone, if time doesn't throw any curveballs our way, we are net even on our funds. Now, there are seasons of illness that can take our health and turn it into illness, at which point we can't use it for work. That'll put us behind. So right now, we are barely even, and if anything bad happens, we are immediately falling behind on our funds. So we want to solve that immediately. And the way we're going to do that is exercise the body with 2 vitality. I am a brim with vitality. If I devote some to exercise, I'll benefit. So we're going to start that. Give me just a moment. Alright, sorry about the brief break. People keep messaging me and I keep having to deal with it. So, we're going to study our vitality, and we're going to upgrade some stuff. And again, there are these aspect icons. I don't want to get too into it because it's a little overwhelming, but like advancement, taste of what might be. With enough of these cards, you can grow an ability. These are your abilities. I call them stats. You know, we've got influence, an echo, a resonance, an alignment, something that will fade soon. We've seen some influences already. This is an influence. The contentment was an influence. Everything that decays, basically, and is kind of like energy in a way, they're influences. We'll see more of that later. But for now, we're just going to wait. Oh, actually, I'm wasting time. What I can do is I can put my reason into work and find clerical work. I can find work which will spare my body, if not my mind. So instead of the dumb manual labor, I can find something other than that. And you can see here, that was a significant action. We get a fun little image that burns itself into the board. That'll fade over time, but doing significant things like that, you'll know you're making progress when those kinds of images burn their way onto the board. So this is a very notable thing to be doing here. So, Glover and Glover have offered me a junior position. I start at 8 sharp tomorrow morning. So, we've got this junior position at Glover and Glover. My intellect should be put to better use, but the pay is better than laborer's work. If I don't attend this job regularly, you might suffer a demotion. Now, that's the fun thing. People see this line, you might suffer a demotion, and immediately panic. They're like, oh, I have to keep on top of this no matter what, or I'll lose it permanently. No. If you don't work in the next minute and a half, it'll turn to, like, struggles at your job or whatever, right? If you have passion, you can use this and passion to get your job back. You don't permanently lose this for not working at it. It just takes an extra 60 seconds to get the thing back and start making money again. Now, that delay can be significantly bad, but, you know, it's something to consider. You do have a little leeway if you use it right. In the meantime, I am going to work at Glover and Glover. So the scratching of pens, the sourness of dust, the sighing of the younger Glover, the greedy gurgling of the elder. Now, we can put diligence in here. Extra effort. It might help sometimes. And that requires our reason. So we could pop our reason in here, and I will apply extra effort. Perhaps they'll appreciate it. Now, you don't have to put in your diligence. You will still get 1 funds out if you don't put in any diligence. But doing this does get you recognized, and you get promoted. You get a higher position to work at, and that means more money. That's our way of doing more than just breaking even. That's our way of, having a net positive on our funds. That's significant, because this is going to hit again. And if you watch, it eats the funds. Meanwhile, we have bleak thoughts. Dark days. I must be careful not to let doubts creep in. Dread may provoke full-fledged despair. So this bleak thoughts will immediately grab any dread it can. You can see that magnet there grabs a card to fill its void. If it grabs a dread within this next 60 seconds, then it's going to stick around permanently. That said, after that point, it'll also start grabbing contentment. If you get enough contentment to counteract all of the dread that it has grabbed so far, it'll go away. If it has no dread within the first 60 seconds, it'll just go away anyway. So, here we go. I've grown stronger. I've gained health, but it'll be more difficult to gain health next time. So I've got a skill, stronger physique. And you can use this with 2 lessons learned to gain more health. Now, that's not the clearest thing, but what you can do is, and I've also got a second health here. Now I'm net positive on health. That's very good. What you can do here is gaining vitality, however you might do it, in this case, manual labor again, and studying with 2 vitality will turn it into vitality, a lesson learned. And then 2 lessons learned will be used to level this up. So we just need to get more vitality. And we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. So, Mr. Alden, the supervisor of records, has called me into his office to recognize my diligence. That was for using that reason there. I watched the mole on his neck as he talks and talks and talks. But at the end of it, I have a promotion. My new position is better paid, and the desk stands by the street window. But I work directly for Mr. Alden now. Mr. Alden is known to be exacting. So, my reason is dimmed for now. It's exhausting to be diligent. I have a position at Glover and Glover, not just a junior position. Now, I have to work every 60 seconds, not every 90 seconds. And I have a position in records under Mr. Alden. I earn a little more. You get 2 funds now instead of 1. And I stay a little later. Mr. Alden always watches me closely. So here, if I don't work within the next 60 seconds, I will get demoted. I'll go from my standard position to a junior position. At that point, I can just promote myself again with more reason. So this position is super flexible. It's just a way of guaranteeing you have money. More than that, though, there's this little fly icon here, this aspect here of annoyance. Here is a thorn in my side. I may yet find a way to remove it. Mr. Alden is a dick. He sucks, he's terrible, he's awful. There is a way to remove him, take his position, and get more money. But that's later. For now, I'm going to work with my stronger physique. I have grown strong, but I must still devote my health to a day's work. So it's not just the skill, but some health. And I can do unskilled labor, arms of bronze. So I'm better than I was. And if you look, this time it only takes 55 seconds instead of 50. Now, with 2 health and this skill, we are net positive on our funds again. So we have 2 different ways of making money. We can use the Glover and Glover job if we become ill, and we can use this job if we're waiting on the Glover and Glover, right? So this is security. This is making sure, putting in the foundations to avoid losing to time. Now, we're not entirely safe yet. There are still some things we have to manage, but for now, we have a little bit more of a cushion, and we're not going to just lose to the inevitable passage of time. And I don't know if you've noticed, My health belongs to work, my passion belongs to dreaming, and my reason belongs to studying. Any of the related influences are going to go underneath. Funds is here near time. Time is out of the way because it's not going to do anything other than be an annoyance. Speaking of which, a season of ardors. We are all of us both ape and angel. There's romance in this game. You can romance people. I don't know anyone, so it's not going to do anything. I know Mr. Alden, but I don't want to romance him. In the meantime, dreaming is sitting and doing nothing. Largely because I'm not injured or anything. If health gains an illness, I can use dreaming to bring that back, to restore that. But for now, it's just going to sit. So is studying. Studying is going to sit, because I don't want to pull out this bequest just yet. I'm not secure enough in my position. So, more waiting. And I suppose I can use this time to do all the interaction things. Like, hey, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. So, the clouds part. The wolf despair prowls elsewhere. So no dread empowers this despair, it's over for now. And I get out of it a fleeting reminiscence. A moment in time, in another moment, it'll be gone. This is another influence here. We're not going to worry about it. We don't have too much use for it. But, if you notice, the second I pulled the card out of this tile here, it just disintegrated, right? So, there will be temporary status tiles that pop in every now and again. So, this card, I am alone, but there is peace in that also. Normally it would grab a lover, and stuff would happen from there. This is one of the few areas of the game that I'm not actually familiar with, because I haven't done any of the romance routes. We'll be exploring that as we go later. And then solitude. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. This is a way to generate contentment. Seasons of ardor, if you are alone, will generate contentment. That's a good way to fight off the dread. So, our work is finished. I've finished early, here's my pay. So that's why it took less time. It's because I'm strong enough to finish the work early. So we're going to put our stronger physique up here above the work thing. We've got our health, which goes back here. We've got vitality, again, which goes here. So if you see, this bigger slot is for tiles, this smaller slot is for cards. As the tiles generate cards, they'll pop in here. And last but not least, we've got some money. So, vitality goes down here. Now, I could grab my position at Glover and Glover and use it right now to avoid it from being, to prevent it from being demoted, but I don't care. Right now, I'm just focused on grabbing vitality. So, I'm gonna work with my health. Now, this is gonna take 60 seconds to resolve. This is gonna take 55 seconds to resolve. I don't have enough health to be able to do this as quick as I possibly can, right? It's not gonna be in a permanent rotation every 55 seconds yet. So that little chime jingle says cards have transformed. I've got my reason back, and I've got a difficulty at work. Demotion to a junior position. My absence from the office has been noted, I've been demoted, and I'll need to argue persuasively to keep my job. Now, if you put this in work plus your passion, you are passionate about having this job, they give it back to you. From there, you are a junior position again, and you have to work your way to promotion. In the meantime, I have my reason. I'm going to study with my reason, and read whatever is to hand. The world is awash with printed words. Even the newspapers contain knowledge sometimes. So, studying with your reason, studying with your passion. You know, this is reading whatever is to hand, this is reading poetry. These are ways to generate erudition and glimmerings, which are the upgrade influences for passion and reason. So, work gets you vitality, study gets you the other two. So one of the ways that I'm going to cushion the beginning of this game, or rather the mid and late game for this run, is I'm going to build up my stats as much as humanly possible. I want to have... Oh. So here we go. Sickness. I've become unwell. This just grabbed my health, my fatigued health, and it's going to turn it into illness. Let's look at the next season here. We have a season of ambitions. This is the season that the winds of the wood reverse direction, a time when appetites and mortals both rise. Now, the winds of the wood, capital W wood, there's some supernatural stuff going on. Obviously, this is called the simulator. We'll learn more about the wood later. For now, though, 60 seconds from now, we're going to have ambition to deal with. Ambition is a way of both progressing the game and of giving you pressure. You have ambition. If those ambitions are going unfulfilled, you'll get restless. That's the main source of restlessness, which in turn is the main source of dread, which in turn is the main feeder of despair. There goes that. So, we've got all of our stuff. Now, if you just saw, I collected all the cards simultaneously instead of dragging them one by one. Cards will remember where they were on the board and return to those positions when they're finished. Any temporary new cards are placed in this slot here. So, that's one way to keep organized, is to, you know, when you put your physique and your health in, you can just collect all and they'll go back to where they're supposed to be. Okay. Now we've got reading. The words contained knowledge. Now I contain it. It is a little like theft and a little like feasting and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. This game has some flowery dialogue. It's amazing. But I've got erudition. I soak up knowledge as the shadow soaks up light. I may be close to advancement. So that erudition is going to go there. Now the cool thing is, reading whatever is to hand with reason does not exhaust the reason. So I can immediately go right back into doing that. Every 60 seconds, I get one erudition. So I'm going to use that to level up that reason there. In the meantime, I got some bad luck with the illness. I got to wait for that to pass before I can do my work. This is why you have 2 health, though. If this illness... If you have 1 health, right, and it turns into this illness here, this affliction, disease has left me weak. I need rest and nourishment if I am to recover. So you can dream on the card to recover it, as it says here. But if you don't, you have 3 minutes, 180 seconds before this decays. And as soon as it does, it turns into decrepitude. At that point, you have no health. You are decrepit. And that is a way of losing. So that's more pressure there. But you can recover with the dreaming. Now you can do medicines or, you know, funds, or you can use your vitality. If you are vital, so it's medicines or vitality, right? I could visit a doctor, but perhaps I just need a little rest. I personally always use funds. The medicine is dark and bitter as tar. It would be easy to suspect I am being poisoned. But funds are, in my opinion, easy to get. Vitality is harder to get. We want vitality. And you can see this one is starting to decay. And if you look, the closer it is to decay, the less saturated it is. So this is brighter than this, and this is brighter than this. Now let's look at our obsessions here. We've got exotic cravings. What hungers drive us? You can see here, we need a desire. My ultimate aim, there will be a price. Desires are your main goal. We don't have that yet because we haven't explored the bequest. If there is no desire for it to fill, we go to mortal frustrations. What hungers drive me? And again, desire. So you have 2 opportunities to put desire in here. And if you don't, well, you get restless. That is something that's easy to mitigate, though. We're not worried about that. In the meantime, we're going to do our armor of bronze, or our arms of bronze labor. Oh, that was a mistake. It's fine. So, this is an example of planning, right? In 42 seconds, we'll have a Season of Despair. Again, that's going to pull Dread. Now, I just started working on this, which is going to take 55 seconds. When this ends in 2 seconds, we're going to get Restlessness. Restlessness has about 60 seconds before it decays into Dread. So this is salvageable, but this is something you want to pay attention to. I want to get rid of this Restlessness before it turns into Dread, because I know that the bleak thoughts are going to be looking for that Dread. So you can see here, restlessness. We're going to combine that with our passion to paint, and that'll eat the restlessness, and it'll never turn into dread, which means this season of bleak thoughts will never hit us. So, we've got more erudition. We're going to sit on this erudition because we have something that's closer to decay. We're going to use this vitality here. So, we're going to exercise the body and get a lesson learned for our vitality. Okay. So you can see here, it's very close. 7 seconds difference before this turns into dread and it's a problem. If I was even slightly off on my timing, by 7 seconds, we would have had some issue here. We would have need to look for contentment and hope we didn't get more dread. And now we have a season of suspicion. Am I being watched? So that'll proc in the next 60 seconds. Meanwhile, we've got all our fun things here. More vitality. We're going to use our passion and paint. And now we can put our restlessness in this yearning slot. And if you remember, if it's in the yearning slot, it doesn't decay. So this will never turn into dread now, and this will never be able to feed off of it. So we can leave that be and not have to worry about that despair there. So, I'm ready to grow stronger. I've got a lesson learned. So we've got 5 minutes here before this turns back into a single vitality. And we're going to pop in our erudition here. Now, I'm not actually going to use this. I'm just preserving these 2 erudition slots because I'm focused on my vitality right now. I'm painting to deal with the restlessness, but as soon as I'm done painting, I'll go for another vitality. In the meantime, since this is almost decayed, I want to preserve it. Now, if you try to open any other menu and this one closes, the cards will drop back onto the board and start decaying again. So you want to keep this open as long as possible. If you have to close it for any reason, like for example, right now, you pause first. So, no despair. This has been prevented. We have the wrong kind of attention. The city is rife with journalists and detectives and other meddlers. How long will they leave me in peace? So, there's a slot for a potential adversary. We don't have that right now because we haven't been doing anything shady. We've just been working. You know, and that's the other thing to consider is this game, its mechanics are just as much tied into the lore as being mechanics. So, because we haven't done anything shady or occult, like all we've been doing is manual labor, working at a law firm, and painting, right? We've been studying on the side. Nothing shady here, nothing suspicious. No one has any reason to start trying to look into our business. Oops. Wasting time there. You gotta pay attention to that. So, this progressed. The curious view. The wrong kind of reputation might awaken the interest of the curious, the puritanical, or the vengeful. So, a reputation may inspire an adversary to emerge. Again, we are nobody. We don't have that reputation, so we're safe for now. But that is another way of providing pressure. So, I finished painting. That painting has turned the restlessness into contentment. You know, we are no longer restless. We took those ants in our pants and turned it into inspiration. And we get a glimmering out of it. Now I'm going to work with our physique again. We're going to get another vitality. We've got plenty of time on this lesson learned. And now if you look, right, at some point we're going to have to combine this vitality with this one that we're going to get. And that's going to take 60 seconds to do. In the meantime, we won't be able to preserve this erudition. It's 53 seconds out, so it's going to decay, right? Well, what we can do is, once we've got the 2 vitalities, not even once we've got the 2, I'm just going to start this now. we can just turn this into a lesson learned, reset the timer, and have 5 minutes to work with on this card while we work on our vitality. So, my name just now is clear. Any guardians remain in the shadows. I'm content. So the game rewards you for taking your time, for avoiding all of the suspicious, occult, all of that. It gives you contentment. Now, it gives you a little bit of pressure with your obsession, with that restlessness there, and it gives you a little bit of pressure with potential illnesses, as well as just taking your funds. But if you're slow, if you're methodical, you can put yourself in a position where any occult activities won't immediately get you, I don't know, arrested or killed. That said, we are running low on our funds. We had 12 a little earlier. Now we've only got 8. So, definitely something to keep an eye on. And the Glover and Glover position is still sitting at this demotion here. It's fine. We're focused on other things. So we've had a season of visions. There's a trembling in the air. The sun flickers like a shadow. Dreams ripple behind the surface of mirrors. I must be careful not to drift from the waking world. Fascination is another influence, just like dread, and it may provoke visions. If you have fascination, this will turn into having visions, of course. Now, the way to counter having visions is with dread. Dread brings you back down to earth. Dread wakes you back up from these visions. So, these negative status effects can kind of counterbalance each other. There are other ways to use dread beyond, letting it power up your despair. Oh, hey! So, I finished early, here's my pay. I'll get my extra vitality, fun. Also, because I was using a health-oriented skill, the Course of the Heart. Whenever the principle of the heart is implicated, I may gain vitality. And so now we start getting into a little bit of supernatural stuff here. If you've noticed, on all of the heart cards, on all of the health-related cards, there has been this aspect here. This is the aspect of the heart. The heart relentless beats to protect the skin of the world we understand. The heart is the principle that continues and preserves. Heart is one of, I believe, 9 different principles. Principles are fundamental supernatural energies that exist in the world. So we have here another one, moth. I knew a man who captured moths in a bell jar. On nights like this, he would release them one by one to die in the candle. Moth is the wild and perilous principle of chaos and yearning, hence why it's associated with your passion. And with reason, we have lantern. Life is a pure flame, and we live by an invisible sun within us. Thomas Brown. Lantern is the principle of the secret place sometimes called the House of the Sun, and of the light above it. Lantern's whole thing is knowledge, is understanding and learning, so it's associated with studying. So we'll see more of these various principles as you go, and we will get very supernaturally involved with them as well. So, we got a skill, scholarship. That is our first skill in combination with a stronger physique. And we have more reason now. Now I can combine these 2 vitalities to get a lesson learned. From there, I can combine that with my second lesson learned and this skill to get a higher level skill and more health. In the meantime, I need to be working. Money's running thin. So, if you look here, my own heart pumps more strongly today. We get another vitality. And now you see here, it's got this 0.4 seconds to it, it's about to decay, but it doesn't have all the stats of the normal vitality card. For whatever reason, this game has a system where when a card is first spawned, it takes about a second to actually fully spawn in, as you can see there. If we click on it now, it's got the whole description and everything. So if you're quick enough to pull a card that just spawned out of its tile, it might look like it's seconds away from decaying, but it's not. It's just seconds away from, fully manifesting. So, a little more waiting. Goodbye, fleeting reminiscence. So we had another season of visions, which isn't going to do anything. The world is as it is. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I am sane, if that means anything. So no fascination drives my visions. It's over for now, and I get a fleeting reminiscence. Now, we've seen some names, capital letter names. We've got the glory, the wood, you know, the house of the... what was it called? The house of the sun. These are all very esoteric things. This game is one of those games, kind of like Dark Souls, where the lore is hidden in all of the item descriptions. It is convoluted and cryptic, to say the least. But we'll get into that a little more as it becomes relevant. And it will, trust me. Our health is just regenerating. Oh, more vitality. Heck yeah. We've got money. So, I've got vitality here. I'm going to get vitality out of this. That's almost enough for 2 more lessons learned. So, we're going to... more vitality. We're just farming vitality at the moment. So, we've got a lesson learned here. I probably should have sat on that. That's okay. We're going to turn this into a lesson learned while we wait. We've got plenty of time on this guy. As soon as this comes out of its thing, because I need the stronger physique skill to train it with the lessons learned to make it even better. So I put that into work and I wasn't thinking. That's a mistake on my part. But it's no biggie. We get more vitality there. We got another Season of Suspicion, so there's no issue there. The biggest concern in the early game is Seasons of Sickness, Seasons of Suspicion, Seasons of Ambitions. Those are not Seasons of Suspicion. Ambitions and Sickness. Oh my gosh, I got another vitality. That's wild. Okay. So, we got 2 vitalities here for lessons learned. We've got a lesson learned in here. We're going to get another vitality here. We only need to do 1 more work, and we've got a higher level. We're having some good luck here. So, another lesson learned. We're going to put in our skill, and it's going to ask for 2 lessons, and if you see here, it's going to consume those lessons. We're going to pop this guy in. We're going to pop this guy in. We're going to make our body stronger. We're going to grow stronger still. That'll take 60 seconds. Meanwhile, I can work with just normal health, normal unskilled labor to get more vitality. We're just bustling through this. And so that's kind of the whole point of this game. Or at least how I play it, how I would suggest you play it. You constantly want to be doing things. You constantly want to be juggling your stats, your jobs, everything. You don't want to not be doing stuff. And you don't want to let time pass while not doing stuff, because that pressure will catch up. It'll catch up surprisingly fast. So look, we have a Season of Ambitions that's going to generate restlessness, which will turn into despair if left unchecked. And we have a Season of Despair. Or dread. This will turn into dread if left unchecked, which will feed into the despair. So it tries to do this. It tries to catch you up, to put you on the back foot. So you want to manage that. You want to be careful with that. Okay. So, there's that restlessness again. All right. So, we've got 1 more vitality. Look at all this vitality. Oh my gosh. We're gonna pop our passion in here. Paint with it to get rid of the restlessness. We've got a hardened physique now. You might not know it to look at me, but I have grown strong as a smith or a soldier. And we've got additional health. So we're gonna slide all this down here and be a little more organized. So, we've got that stronger physique now. That means it's going to take us 50 seconds to do manual labor instead of 55. So, we're slowly catching up on this. In the meantime, I am going to turn these into lessons learned. And we will need more vitality. That's going to be a problem. Not as big a one as you might think, but... this vitality's running out. This vitality's running out. I need to pull 2 vitality really fast. There's that Season of Despair. Bleak thoughts here. We're gonna have a Season of Visions. We can ignore that. Because visions only really happen as a result of encountering supernatural influences. And again, we're just a normal guy. We're exercising our body. We're exercising our mind. Heck yeah. So, we got plenty of time here. We're going to pop these 2 vitalities in here. That'll be our 3rd. So, we finished painting, and we got 2 glimmerings out of it. That'll be useful. So, no contentment there, but an extra glimmering. Actually, yeah. So this will take 60 seconds to turn into a lesson learned, which means we can do the Arms of Iron labor. And that's the other thing. Manual labor, it didn't happen to me. I didn't get unlucky. But if you do manual labor with a skill less than hardened physique, there's a chance that your health will become an injury. You get hurt, right? It's another way this game can pressure you. I got lucky, it never happened. And then once you have the hardened physique, you don't have to worry about getting hurt anymore. Like, it just won't happen. So, we got this vitality for a lesson learned here. And I'm going to stop at 4 for each stat. You can increase it higher, but 4 is the, I will say, most reasonable amount for the early game. And again, we haven't touched this bequest at all. This is where the game really opens up. We've only got 3 verbs here. We'll get more later. But this is the way to play it, maybe not slowly, but safely. Might be slow too, depending on your, how you think of it. Ooh, more vitality. So, for this, I've got the vitality here. This is going to spawn vitality as well. That's another lesson learned. But we'll not worry about that. We'll let that decay even. So, we're going to put our hardened physique in here, and we need 3 lessons learned instead of 2. But I have all 3. So, I will grow stronger yet. Extremely powerful there. And in the meantime, I've got the 2 glimmerings necessary to get my passion skill. Because I've got my physique skill and my reason skill. I'm flush with clever quotations. And next up, I'll start focusing on reason and start building that up. So these 2 can go here. Season of Silence, nothing's going to happen there. Obsession's going to happen, but since it's silence, we can let that sit. I wouldn't suggest it, though, because Dread takes, I think, 3 minutes to go away, and that's 3 opportunities for Despair to hit you, so I always just paint away my, my restlessness. Okay. So, I've got 4 health here, and a steely physique. There are many things now that I could crush in my fists. So, now, if, say, I get injured or illness, well, who cares? I've got plenty of health. Now, my funds are kind of suffering, though, so let's do something about that. I've been wasting time. I could have been pulling reason there, but I wasn't. So hey, look! A season of sickness! Wow! Malign influences taint the night air. That's okay, because I have plenty of... Oh my gosh, more glimmerings. Ah, I should have trained the glimmerings there. That's my mistake. I wonder. Can this fit anywhere? No. Yeah, these glimmerings are gonna go away because I wasn't paying attention. I'm over here training my reason when I could have popped my glimmerings. So that's the other thing. There's a lot to keep track of. It's very easy to get distracted. But if you don't get distracted, that is, you'll do just fine. Or, you know, if you pause constantly and reassess the situation constantly, it's very easy to recover from any potential, like, slip-ups that you've made. So, I've got 2 reason. I'm about to get my 2nd passion. That's enough to start working on Glover and Glover and still have leeway to train my passion and reason more. Because Glover and Glover will exhaust both passion and reason, and that's not ideal. You don't want to do that. So we're going to pop our passion in here, plead to keep my job. This is not a pleasant conversation, but it may be a necessary one. Because, I don't know if you noticed, we're a little low on money. That's kind of bad. That's kind of not good. Especially because, now we have an affliction, and we need to spend more money for it. We've got 120 seconds. Sorry, 180 seconds, 3 minutes to figure our stuff out. So, feed my imagination. The tigers of wrath are wiser than the horses of instruction. If I spend time studying what I've learned, I could increase my passion and gain a skill. And there are more windows in my soul, but sunlight is not the only thing that passes through a window. So we've got our vivid imagination. My daydreams sometimes outpace my dreams. It's got, it's an aspect, it's got imagination. This may allow you to create more ambitious paintings. So now that we've got this skill and an extra passion here, we can paint with more than just passion. Now, one thing to note, painting with only passion is the way that you get rid of restlessness. If you paint with your vivid imagination, with your passion skill, you can't get rid of your restlessness that way. But you can do other things. You could potentially paint for money. Later on, this skill will be useful for creating occult artifacts, which is what I use it the most for. I don't really use it for painting. There's a whole system of painting that you can do all kinds of cool stuff with, but that's not for me. So we are disillusioned. I've gone against my own principles or my own preferences. It'll recover after 60 seconds, but for now, I got a junior position at Glover & Glover. I can pop my reason for some diligence to get promoted back up to that standard position under Mr. Alden. Mr. Alden, ugh. And then we should be net positive on money again. In the meantime, I'm going to be studying my reason, because I want that erudition skill. We've got this Season of Suspicion here. It's very easy to ignore. Next up, we got Visions. We can ignore that as well. The only two we have to pay attention to are the Seasons of Sickness and the Season of Ambition. Which, hey, look, there it is. Okay, so. Hey, look, we've been recognized by Mr. Alden. Oh boy. We're gonna work immediately under Glover & Glover. And the reason why, I am better paid than I was, but Mr. Alden has taken an interest in me. Mr. Alden is very particular. Mr. Alden likes things done just so, and Mr. Alden has never believed that I am qualified for this position. So, we've got 60 seconds here. Oh boy. And our health is back. It goes here. He is an annoyance. All my homies hate Mr. Alden. Oh, hey. So, a light in the skull. Whenever the principle of the lantern sheds its light, I may recall additional scraps of knowledge. Just like with working with your physique skill and getting occasional additional vitality, you can get occasional additional erudition. So, we've got our erudition here. We're going to pop that in, pop this in. We're going to get a lesson learned. This is going to give us another erudition, which means we need to study one more time to get a second lesson learned to level up the scholarship. It's going to be great. It's going to be useful. Okay. So, there's that additional erudition. Let me know what you guys think about this whole little project of mine in the comments. Tell me things I could improve on or that you might want to see. So, we are working overtime at Mr. Alden's insistence. I do not believe that you have properly understood the importance of our work here. This task will require your full attention. Now, we get 2 money out of it. 1.5 minutes for 2 money. Rather than, say, 1 money per 50 seconds, right? 100 seconds is 2 money with our steely physique versus 90 seconds is 2 money with some reason. So, the work is complete when I have assessed the work as complete and not before. I trust we understand each other. Mr. Alden, you are a horrible person. That's the mundanity of life. There's my restlessness there. And we've got a lesson learned. I'm going to study with one more reason to level up this erudition. And you can see they've got slightly different icons there. So, on this occasion, I have determined that your work is of an acceptable standard. You may go. Be punctual tomorrow, please. There may be ways to deal with Mr. Alden. But I got 2 money out of it, so that's what's worth it. Now, I do have this restlessness. There's going to be a season of suspicion. Am I willing? Yes. So, in this instance, we're going to have a season of suspicion, which is going to guaranteed generate contentment. Even if this turns into dread, which then feeds despair, that contentment will also feed the despair, so we're fine. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of aspects here. There's heart, there's lantern, there's moth, and there's 2 more. We have grail, hunger, lust, the drowning waters. The principle of the grail honors both the birth and the feast. And there's forge. Fire, I once read, is the winter that warms and the spring that consumes. The principle of the forge transforms and destroys. It's not so much creation as it is change and destruction. But we're going to let this turn into dread, because we have a guaranteed way of mitigating any potential future seasons of despair. Meantime, I want to see something. Does this give us 45 seconds of work? It does. So if we're perfectly on top of this, like we're saying on the dot every single time it goes off where we do this labor, it is technically even with the position at Glover and Glover. But this one's easier to manage. Yep, there's that dread. Because you have a 30-second window to put in your reason. So you don't have to manage it as exactly. Yeah. You get vitality out of it at least, but yeah, the steely physique is not quite as good as working at Glover and Glover. And this gets better. If you find a way of getting rid of Alden, so 60 seconds of contentment, 3 minutes of dread. We've got more contentment coming though, so... Hey look! It's a season of despair. That's gonna happen in the next little bit. But we should be fine, question mark. Yeah, we should be fine. It'll be fine. So, we've got another erudition lesson learned. We're going to put our scholarship skill and our lessons learned in here. Exercise the mind. Knowledge is a city wall built stone by stone. But what waits in the darkness beyond the walls? Why would we need a fortress, except that we had something to fear? So, we're going to put our reason in here. Again, working overtime at Alden's insistence, because he's a bastard. There goes this contentment. Let's see if it grabs the contentment or the dread. Nope, it grabbed the dread. Okay. Goodbye, contentment. We have another season of ambitions, so this is automatically, like, a pretty bad position. We've already got 1 dread in here being grabbed by the despair. We're going to have another dread generated here if we don't do something about it, right? But this is also potentially a benefit, because we can paint with that restlessness and potentially turn it into contentment to deal with this first dread. So, okay, that's going to go off in 60 seconds. 90 seconds. We should have 120 seconds total before this turns into dread, so we've got 90 seconds to work some more, which I want to do because we are extremely low on money. I caught it a little close to the wire here. I told you, that pressure sneaks up on you. If you're not paying attention, it'll get you. So, I have reordered the boundaries of my ignorance. We've got another reason. And notable scholarship for our skill here. I've learned enough to know how little I know. That's the true mark of intelligence right there. So, I think it might be wise at this point to go a little further to progress the game, because money's low and I need money now. So I'm going to try to work towards eliminating Mr. Alden. To do that, I'm going to study this bequest. Now, this is your first key deciding factor. You can approach with passion or reason. Are you passionate or reasonable? I prefer reason. You will examine each item with meticulous care, or I'll read, theorize, pace, sketch, clutch at my hair in wonder, rise in elation, and collapse in despair, right? This is the emotional one. Now, if I am recalling this correctly, one of these paths gets you towards a lantern victory, a minor lantern victory, and the other path gets you towards a minor heart victory. It's either heart or grail, one of the two. They're very closely related. But I'm going to do reason, because I like lantern, I like knowledge, I like pretending I'm smart. Meanwhile, the doubts are creeping in, the dread is turning into despair. Oh no, and you can't pull this out, by the way. Like, if you try, it just doesn't work. So, despair. Despair is the wolf that devours thought. You can defeat despair by feeding it contentment, otherwise it will destroy you when it reaches 3 dread. We're at 1 right now. So, examine the bequest employing reason. My correspondent describes my dreams exactly. They use names that are instantly familiar. The house, the wood, hey, there's this again. The hours, the glory, there's this again. They knew secrets beneath time and the skin of the world. A new curiosity burns in me. There's a note here. Directions to a bookshop that does not advertise its wares. So we get our reason. We've got directions to Moorlands. Cryptic directions to the obscure address of a certain moorland, a dealer in the rarer sort of books. So we're going to study this. We've got a temptation. This is our desire. Excuse me. It has occurred to me that I hold the key to wisdom. This card will allow you to win an enlightenment victory if you upgrade it far enough. Dreaming about it might advance or change it. And then we also have aspect, the marks of light. I may seek immortality and enlightenment in the hour called the Watchman. His touch brings particular appetites and marks. So we got a whole bunch of stuff just now. But hours. The hours, the glory. So hours are essentially the gods of this world. Each hour embodies one or multiple aspects, or rather principles. The principles of like heart and grail, forge and lantern. The Watchman embodies the most the hour of lantern, or the principle of lantern. Lots of terminology. It's going to get very confusing very quickly. But the Watchman is an hour. He embodies the principle of lantern. And we are going to try to find immortality by reaching out to this particular hour. This is how you win the game. And this is what will be grabbed by the obsession. Later. These are a whole bunch of things. You see here, marks of light. So if you have 3 marks of light, currently we only have 1. This will upgrade into 2, then to 3, so on. Then it gets dragged here. Following that, we've got notes on a possible collaborator. My correspondent had recorded his observations of me. He believed I had potential. He recorded his observations of someone else, too. With time and study, perhaps I can find that person. And last but not least, a Watchman's secret. It has been expressed like this. Each hour has its color, but color exists only where there is light. So this is lantern stuff. It's got two lantern in it. This aspect requires knowledge. It's a puzzle. You can upgrade this with erudition. And this is lore. Knowledge of the invisible arts. I can use it to attract followers, to perform rites, to open the way to the Mansus, or to seek my ascension. So, lore, fragments of lore, are how you progress the game also. This is key stuff. Every different principle has lore. And this is at level 2. It goes by even numbers. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. The bigger the number, the more important the lore. So we've got a little tidbit of lantern lore there. So we want to go to Moorlands. We're going to find Moorland's shop. The directions to Moorland's shop are cryptic. When one deals with the books my correspondent studied, one must be circumspect. I left out kind of there, but that's going to take 30 seconds to do. Oh, it grabbed the thing. The watchman's footsteps. Hunger glows in my brain. The hunger for the knowledge the invisible arts might bring. We're going to put our reason in here for, what's-his-face, Alden. The watchman, who is the door in the eye, waits in my dreams. If I learn the lantern lore, and I dream of this temptation, I can advance my purpose. The need gnaws at me. So we've immediately started going into the supernatural. And these are instructions. If you dream with this temptation, if you learn the lantern lore down here, you can start progressing. In the meantime, I'm restless again. So, we're going to turn this restlessness into not restlessness. We've got this temptation here. It's going to go up with our money. And we've got a new verb. An ill-lit street at an ill-favored bend in a lesser river. A soft yellow light through a grimy window. Miss Moreland nods as I enter, but doesn't rise. I never ask the names of my clients, she informs me, before I have time to introduce myself. And we have unlocked Explorer. We've also unlocked Moreland's shop. This is a unique card. You can tell by the fun blue sheen on the bottom there. It can only exist once. So, the dim premises of Miss Moreland, who deals in rare and sometimes dangerous books. So we're going to move this little exploration right here. And we're going to put our locations here. So, now that I've found a location, I can explore it. And it gives us an occult scrap. Secret histories are layered beneath the one we know, like the notes in rare wine. This is a detail from one of those histories. Exploring with this scrap of knowledge may uncover secret locations in the capital. We live in the capital. Secret histories is another principle. History is the scar on the world's skin. Secret histories describe the unknown complexities of the world and its many pasts. So one thing that you're going to note or learn pretty quickly is there are many histories. It's secret histories plural. There are multiple realities, and they've all been kind of woven together in a supernatural event called the Intercalate. Now, that's a whole thing, and it's mostly lore, not really mechanics, but what that means is there are fragments of these alternate realities that didn't quite smooth out when they were combined with this one. So, I have a name, a description, a few tantalizing details, but there are 1,000 faces in this city. So that's going to take some time to do. In the meantime, we're going to let this run. We got some work done. And our money is building up. We went from like 2 or 3 to 5. We're less poor now. Outright. Passion, yearning. We're gonna get demoted again, because of course we are, but we can work our way back up. We need to deal with this obsession. Oh god, there's more. So, in the meantime, let's explore Moreland's shop. Oh, but it costs money. This is a bookstore. You're gonna buy books. You want to buy books, right? We're not buying books right now. We've got an acquaintance. I await an answer to a letter. So, and now I have an address. I'll dispatch a letter and propose a meeting. We get the talk verb, as well as some mystique. Uncanniness lingers. Mystique may attract the attention of hunters. They can't use it to build a case against you, but it will encourage them to look harder. So this is reputation. We have a reputation now. We've sent out a letter. Someone knows something about us. Meanwhile, we've got our obsession being dragged out. We've got more restlessness. Oh boy. We've got an illness coming on. A whole lot of bad luck here. We had dread right after an obsession. We've got another obsession after an obsession. This is very quickly how you can lose. We've got 3 dread. There's 1 dread here, 1 dread here, and we've got 1 dread in the despair. We could have lost there. Okay, the reply to your letter is courteous, if cautious. They are intrigued by how you found their name, intrigued enough to meet you. So we've got a hanger-on. Usefully malleable, but they'll probably never amount to much. I might be able to recruit this acquaintance as a follower, and they are mortal. But, I think we'll leave it there. I just realized the time. It's been an hour and a half, basically. We've just started breaching into the occult. We'll go more into all of this. We got 2 whole new verbs, we got locations, we got people, obsessions. We'll go into that later. For now, this session is mostly dedicated towards stats and the main big 3. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you guys later.